We're back, people. What's going on? This is REKBCQ signing on for another episode of Rex Room. Before we start, I wanted to give you all a big thank you. The fact that the last video got as many views as it did is mind-blowing to me. Yes, I was doing my best to give you guys a good product, but I didn't expect it to garner that much attention, so thank you so much. You guys inspired me to continue on with the story, and I hope you like what I cooked up, because I'm very excited to share it with you. Let's continue on with the story. This story revolves around an idea that has only been used once in the franchise proper. We learned at the end of Dragon Ball Z that King Yeba was capable of reincarnating people. The one case of reincarnation we've seen in Dragon Ball thus far is with Kid Buu. Sadly, we got to see very little of our dear Rube. So with this story, we're exploring if this happened with someone else. Like Kid Buu, this character is known for being irredeemable. Really, the only way that they could be truly good is if they were reincarnated. That villain is the intergalactic land shark, Emperor Frieza. This version of the story begins in the future timeline. For the first time, we saw the fight between Goku and Mecha Frieza, now that no one had come from the future to interfere. Then after that fight, Goku made the same wish that he did with Buu. With that, it led to the introduction of Fria. It just so happened Frieza's reincarnation was born to two characters we were already acquainted with, Vegeta and Bulma. Fria was the twin sister to Trunks. Despite Fria being around, the attack of the androids stayed the same. The future was ravaged by these evil beings, and, like in the original, all the Z fighters die. Eventually, we saw the last of the original Z fighters, Gohan, fall in battle. We left off with Fria and Trunks seeing Gohan pass from this earth, going Super Saiyan at the same time. We return at that same moment. As we see in the anime, the two are left enraged, screaming at the top of their lungs. The moment is interrupted when Fria collapses from the battle damage accumulated fighting the androids. Trunks is lucid enough at this moment to notice his sister falling, and he catches her. From there, he throws her over his shoulder and he flies back home with her in tow. We skip forward 3 years. Fria and Trunks are sparring while Bulma makes the final adjustments to the time machine. As she finishes up, she goes to her children to let them know. The plan is the same as it is in the original. Bring the heart medicine to Goku. However, only one of them can go to the past. The time machine is only big enough for one person. Trunks states that he thinks him and Fria are strong enough to take out the androids on their own. Now that they are Super Saiyans, they'll be able to do it. Bulma immediately rejects the idea, knowing that they still have no chance. Trunks goes to his sister to help him out, but she only parrots her mother's thoughts. Fria knows the android's power. She saw Gohan die right in front of her. In the middle of this argument, they hear about the attack on Bridgetown on the news. Trunks, eager to show how strong they truly are, flies off to handle them. Fria goes to get Trunks, but is stopped by her mother. Don't go after him. The best way to help him is to get in that time machine and go. If you follow him, you both could die. But if you go back and give Goku that medication, none of this may ever happen. Trunks will never be in the line of fire to begin with. Fria stares into her mother's eyes solemnly. She looks in the direction of Bridgetown, and then back at her mother. She nods at her mother and gets in the time machine. Fria looks back at her mother one last time and smiles weakly. Fria flies off and Bulma hops into a car to follow Trunks. At this point, the story plays out as it did in the anime, but with Fria instead. When Frieza and King Cold see Fria for the first time, that's when things change. Fria stands there facing the tyrants. Unlike the interaction between Trunks and Frieza, this interaction starts out with a silent stare down, both parties seeming shaken. Frieza and King Cold are taken aback. This creature is remarkably familiar. This Earth woman reminds them strangely of themselves. As well as that, she has the same cocky smile as Vegeta. This perturbs them greatly. Little do they know, Fria feels the same way. Goku died before he can tell anyone Fria's true origin. Fria herself didn't even know. So when she feels Frieza's ki, it's off-putting to her. It's like hers, but yet dark and twisted. The idea that she could have some sort of connection with these despicable tyrants shakes her to her very core. The Z-Fighters look on from the sidelines, scared to react. They too can tell the connection between Fria and Frieza's ki. While they are all shocked, Vegeta stands there in abject horror. Eventually, the two parties regain their composure. Then Frieza finally speaks. Why do you show your face to me, Earth creature? I think you can guess, Frieza. You want to destroy the planet. Frieza smiles. Perhaps, but that isn't my main concern at the moment. If you know who I am, I imagine you know who I'm looking for. Where is that filth? The one you call Goku. I'm sorry, but you'll have to settle for me. Again she puts on that grin, the same as her father's. She stands there waiting for Frieza to make a move. Still not impressed, Frieza commands his soldiers to kill Fria. Of course, she dispatches of them easily. Anything else? Fria smirks as she wipes the sweat from her brow. You should understand who you're talking to. I'm the strongest being in the galaxy. Not even the legendary Super Saiyan could stop me now. Fria laughs. You sure about that? She powers up. The black in her hair turns golden. The purple in her hair and eyes turn a brighter shade. Frieza recoils, terrified. Not wanting to admit that there were more Super Saiyans, he launches himself at Fria in a blind panic. I will kill you, you filthy monkey! Fria hears that word and spaces out for a second. But before Frieza reaches her, she regains her composure and grabs his fist. She stares at him dead in the eye and says, That's my line. Frieza begins to throw blow after blow at Fria, her dodging effortlessly. She looks deadpan the whole time, bored by this. Due to her having Frieza's essence as well as extra training with Future Trunks, she is far stronger than Future Trunks was in the original timeline. This was one-sided from the start. Finally, she states, I'm done with this. She pulls back from Frieza and throws her hand up into the air. A Kienzan forms above her. That's right, the Destructo Disc. Unlike Trunks, she doesn't use a sword. But like how Frieza had the fake Kienzan on Namek, or the Death Saucer, she ended up learning the real deal. She takes the Kienzan and slices Frieza right down the center. She guides it back towards him and dices him. He falls to the ground in pieces. King Cold is shocked by this. While not torn up over the loss of his little princess, little TFS reference for you. He can't fathom the strength that this Saiyan has. He starts to bargain with her. He offers her a spot in the Frieza Force. She could even be his right-hand woman, as it were. She ignores this, saying, You talk too much. Fria lets out a large ki blast, eviscerating Cold. The Z-Fighters look back and see that nothing is left but Fria. No King Cold, no Frieza, not even the ship was left. Just a large crater. Fria powers down from Super Saiyan and lowers to the ground. She turns her head to see the Z-Fighters watching her. All of a sudden her serious face turns into an embarrassed smile. Oh, did I make a scene? Sorry about that. Skipping forward a little bit, Fria is now sitting with the Z-Fighters, waiting for Goku to show his face. The group talks a little bit, and Fria reveals the same info as Trunks did. Here to see Goku, has never met him, etc. During the conversation, Krillin says to Fria, You're pretty strong for someone so young. How old are you anyways? This was a bad move. Immediately we see both Fria and Bulma go from happy to furious. Both of them yell out loud, You do not ask a woman their age! Simultaneously, both of them punch him in the face. Like mother, like daughter, I suppose. Later we see Fria walk up to Vegeta, something Trunks would not have done. And she talks with him. The conversation mostly consists of Fria intentionally annoying Vegeta to get him to interact with her. Eventually Vegeta says, If you want me to talk, fine. I have a question for you. Why does your ki resemble Frieza's? Everyone stops and stares at the two Saiyans. Fria looks down with a terrified look on her face. She stares at her hands, shaking. Well, out with it, Vegeta says impatiently. I don't know, she says, still frozen in place. What do you mean, I don't know? The odds that your ki would resemble his is slim to none. There has to be a reason. I said I don't know, she yells, teary-eyed. Before the interaction can continue, Goku flies overhead and lands near the group. Hey everybody! I didn't expect to see you all here. He looks at Fria, surprised. Were you that large ki I felt fighting Frieza? Fria just looks at Goku, staring there, smiling, oblivious to what just happened. She chuckles a little and nods. Hey Goku, I'm sorry to interrupt your reunion, but can I talk to you in private for a second? Sure thing! The two fly out of earshot and begin to talk. You know, I'm kind of jealous right now, Goku says, smiling. Fria looks at him, confused. Really? Why's that? Well, when I sensed Frieza's ki, I got really amped up to fight Frieza again. I was going to come down and fight him myself, but you seem to have it under control, so I held back. Fria smiles. Sorry about that. I'll let you take the next fight. Goku looks up at the sky, smiling to himself. I wish I can fight him again one day, preferably on the same side. Fria looks at him, caught off guard again. While not having put two and two together yet, what Goku says makes her think more and more about how she may be connected to Frieza. Still, since she can't think of why, she decides to worry about it later. After that, their conversation is pretty much the same as the one Goku and Trunks had. She does notice something, though. She can tell Goku is really focused on training for the androids. It doesn't seem like the heart virus part is really clicking with him. Keeping that in mind, she waves everyone goodbye, doing her best to avoid Vegeta's glance. She flies off in the time machine. Instead of traveling to the day the androids attack, she decides that she needs to head back to her time first. She has a feeling that despite having stressed the importance of taking the heart medicine, Goku would still forget to take it. I better get Trunks. If Goku forgets to take that medicine, we're gonna need backup. She arrives back in her time and goes to greet her family in their living room. When she walks in, she immediately panics. All she sees is Trunks lying on the couch, beaten and bruised. That's where I'll leave the story for now. How'd you like this episode? Are you a fan of Fria's introduction to the Z Fighters? What do you think is going to come of Trunks? Will Fria be able to help in the fight with the androids? Let me know in the comments below. Now, before we end off, I wanted to thank Ashan Anime Art on Twitter. I realized I never credited him for the art he did, so I felt the best to do so here. He was the one who drew future Fria, as well as my avatar. Again, check him out at Ashan Anime Art, where he takes commissions. As well as that, he's currently working on his own fan manga as well. Lastly, be sure to check out the other videos on our channel. There are a variety of videos from me, as well as the fellow face of the BCQ Zymes, and some videos with us together. With all that said, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. This is REKC BCQ signing off.